First, I'm going to model fluent reading by reading through the poem A Teacher's Lament by Allie. Don't tell me your cat ate your math sheet and your spelling words went down the drain and you couldn't decipher your homework because it was soaked in the rain. Don't tell me you slaved for hours on the project that's due today and you would have had it finished if your snake hadn't run away. Don't tell me you lost your eraser and your worksheets and pencils too, and your papers are stuck together with a great big glob of glue. I'm tired of all your excuses. They really are a terrible bore. Besides, I forgot my own work at home in my study drawer. I am now going to model the strategy identifying important information. I'm going to first read the title, and then I'm going to go stanza by stanza or section by section of the poem. I'm going to, after each stanza, think about what the main idea of that stanza was. I'm then going to write it on a sticky note and place it next to the stanza. Another thing that is important is thinking about the author's craft. One author's craft in this poem is rhyming words. So after each stanza, I'm going to think about the rhyming words also, and I'm going to highlight them with my yellow highlighter. First, I'm going to read the title and think about what I think it means. A Teacher's Lament. Well, a lament means that it's like a heartbreak or something you're sorrowful about. So it's going to be about the teacher's heartbreak. Now I'm going to read the first stanza. Don't tell me the cat ate your math sheet and your spelling words went down the drain and you couldn't decipher your homework because it was soaked in the rain. Well, first I see that drain and rain rhyme, so I'm going to highlight those with my yellow highlighter. Let's see. In this first stanza, it seems like it's about homework, and that the teacher doesn't want to hear excuses about the fact that the kids don't have their homework. So the teacher doesn't want to hear homework excuses. I think that's the main idea, so I'm going to write that on a sticky note now. Now on to the next stanza. Don't tell me you sleep for hours on the project that's due today, and you would have had it finished if your snake hadn't run away. Well, first I see that today and away rhyme, so I'm going to highlight those with my yellow highlighter. Let's see. In this next stanza, they're talking about a project and excuses. So I think that this main idea of this stanza is that the teacher doesn't want to hear an excuse for not turning in a project. I like that. I think I'm going to write that on my sticky note. Teacher doesn't want to hear excuses for not turning in a project. I'm going next to my second stanza, just like that. Now on to the third stanza. Don't tell me you lost your eraser and your worksheets and pencils too, and your papers are stuck together with a great big glob of glue. First I see that to and glue rhyme, so I'm going to highlight those with my yellow highlighter. Like that. Let's see. In this next stanza, it talks about things that you use in a classroom, materials that you use in the classroom, and the teacher doesn't want to hear that the students don't have them. So the teacher does not want to hear excuses about not having materials. That's the main idea of that stanza, so I'm going to write that on my sticky note. Teacher does not want to hear excuses for for not having materials. And I'm going to put that next to my third stanza. Now on to the final stanza. I'm tired of all your excuses. They are really a terrible bore. Besides, I forgot my own work at home in my study drawer. Well, first, bore and drawer do rhyme, so I'm going to highlight this with a yellow highlighter. Well, in this stanza, the teacher says that she's really tired of all the excuses and that she thinks they're really boring, and she forgot her own work at home. So she's tired of all the excuses and she's bored with them. So I'm going to write that on my sticky note. Tired of excuses and is bored with them. And I'm putting that to next to my last stanza. Now I'm going to go back and reread all of my sticky notes. I'm then going to, as I reread each one, I'm going to put each on my graphic organizer. I'm going to put 1 here, 2, 3, and 4, each thinking cloud representing each stanza. Then at the end, they all go down to the main idea. So I'm going to think about the connection between all of the sticky notes. So the first one, the teacher doesn't want to hear homework excuses. So I'm going to stick that one right in my first thinking cloud. Next, the teacher doesn't want to hear excuses for not turning in a project. And that is going in my second thinking cloud. Third, the teacher does not want to hear excuses about not having materials. That is going in my third thinking cloud. And lastly, tired of excuses and is bored with them. Well, it seems like these all have in common is that the teacher doesn't want to hear excuses. So the teacher's lament or heartbreak is that she doesn't want to hear excuses anymore. I'm going to write that in the main idea because they all have in common. Teachers lament is that she is tired of excuses. It also seems like she's bored with them, so I'm going to write that too. A teacher's lament is that she is tired of excuses. She's also bored with the excuses. So I wrote that in my main idea. That is modeling the strategy, identifying important information.